by Miller Lite and Luther Auto. And now, to kick off your NFL weekend, this is Vikings Live.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the show. The Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys battle on Halloween night. We're here to talk about it, including an interview with Everson Griffen coming up shortly. This is Vikings Live, and your host is Bonjour, Hobie Artigue.
Magnifique, mon ami. Minnesota Vikings looking pretty magnificent, too, as they entered the bye week 3-3, now looking for a big win against the Dallas Cowboys. Alongside Ron Johnson and Ben Lieber, I'm Hobie Artigue. And guys, last year after the bye week, the Vikings played really well. Won 3 straight games after coming off of that break. Are you feeling confident about that team this season, this time around?
I am. I mean, honestly, right now, looking at the teams they have to play, looking at the health factor that they're all getting back healthy. I mean, when you have Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook, it's hard to bet against them right now, at least. And so when you look at Dak not being healthy, I think that's the key for me is that I feel comfortable with this game at least. Going forward, who knows? I mean, if the Packers keep having COVID tests, then, yeah, I mean, it's going their way right now.
You know, if I had to put a number on it, I'd put it like 60% confident in this team right now because I do think that the offense is explosive. They've shown that. They put some points on the board. I love that Darrisaw's in the lineup and the offensive line. It seems like this is what it's going to be the rest of the season. Now we can build from here. It's the defense that I'm not quite sold on yet. That's why that 60% is there. We got to stop the run better. We just have to do it. We have yet to prove that can be our calling card. Until they do that, 60% for right now.
Well, you're talking about proving things, and the 2 quarterbacks that we'll be playing Sunday night have proven a lot in a very short amount of time here in the 2021 season. And, of course, I'm talking about Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. Both of these guys in the top 10 of major statistical categories across the NFL. We're talking yards per game, touchdowns, and also passer rating. Both of those guys playing extremely well. Ben, I know it's a team game, but is it fair to put this under a microscope, this matchup right here, that whichever quarterback plays well and produces on Sunday night is going to have the edge and could lead their team to victory?
I'm going to say not necessarily.
Okay.
I think it's more important for Kirk than it is for Dak. Look, this Cowboys offense is second in the league when it comes to attempts of runs per game. So they're a running operation. All Dak has to do is be efficient. He doesn't necessarily have to be explosive. Now, you look on the other side of that, you know, Kirk's facing a defense that is one of the worst in the league as far as pass defense goes. It's on him to exploit that defense and be explosive. So I think there's more pressure on Kirk than there is Dak.
Agree, Ron?
I don't. I'm going to say there's more. I think from a fan standpoint here in Minnesota, yes, the fans want Kirk to do well because if he does it, they're going to boo, they're going to tweet, and they're going to ask to get rid of him. But then I look at Dak and you look at what the Cowboys organization has been, you know, and all the quarterback history there. Troy Aikman, you got Tony Romo, and now Dak is supposed to be the heir apparent. And then you look at a guy like Jerry Jones saying, hey, I understand mortality. Like, I'm not going to last much longer. He feels like this is the year they can get to the Super Bowl. So that's why when they say, is he hurt? And Jerry tries to say, oh, yeah, he's fine. Because in his mind, he wants him to be fine. I think for Dak, the pressure is just showing people that I'm healthy, my team's playing well, we have a number 1 offense. If I make mistakes, like if Kirk makes mistakes, people are used to that. If Dak makes mistakes, it's like, man, we were doing so well, and then you had a terrible game against the Vikings on Sunday night on Halloween.
And you mentioned how well the Dallas offense is playing. They also lead the NFL in points per game, a very fast-paced offense. But whenever you look at the Vikings, they like to slow things down, especially with the way that Dalvin Cook is running the ball so efficiently. We saw it in Carolina when he's healthy. How much is on Dalvin Cook in this game to really control the clock and really open the door to the Vikings offense to give them a chance?
I think if you look at the runs, a lot of them were going to Brian O'Neill. And now, like Ben brought up, with Darrisaw back, I think that's huge, where now a defense can't just pick, like, we know it's going to be an outside zone right, or we know he's going to try to bounce it right. Now he's really comfortable with running behind Darrisaw. So for Dalvin, I think the key is keeping the ball out of Dallas's hands. If you can control the clock, you can stop the opportunities they have, and then you force them to maybe get impatient and say, hey, we don't have time to just run the ball. We have to quick strike because the Vikings took so much of the clock and they scored in the red zone, whereas now you put that pressure on Dak. So Dalvin Cook, it's huge.
Yeah, and I would agree, take that a step further. I think Dalvin can be even better after this bye than he was against Carolina. 140, you say, hey, that's pretty good against Carolina. I still think he can get better because I don't think that he hit the holes in line of scrimmage as quick as he normally does. So now that after a bye week, I think he's going to hit those holes quicker. And if New England provided a blueprint to run against this defense, it is downhill power football. Very similar to the way the Arizona Cardinals defense looks. So we gashed them in the line of scrimmage, right in the A gaps. I think that we can do the same thing with Dalvin. But I also want to point out, this is a pass defense, like I said, is not very good. And their linebackers against our running backs are not good in the pass game. I think Dalvin's going to have a huge game, along with Alexander Mattison, in the passing game as well.
Looking at the Vikings defense, Ben, you brought up the run defense, which is a concern, but also they lead the NFL right now in sacks, which is a great stat whenever you see the way they're getting after quarterbacks. Gives you some optimism heading into that game against Dak Prescott. But without Patrick Peterson, now going up against a trio and a bevy of wide receivers that can really tear up a defense, along with a duo that's carrying the rock pretty well. How do you think the defense stacks up without Pat Pete moving forward?
Well, I always say you have to win the line of scrimmage. And I think, whether or not Michael Pierce is there is the bigger question to me. We have to win the line of scrimmage. When we held Zeke 2 years ago to 47 yards, I know he had over 100, just barely over 100 last year. We penetrated that offensive line. They provide a lot of man blocking schemes where they're going to get quick up to the linebackers, which means a lot of one-on-one blocks to our defensive tackles and our three techniques. If we can win those one-on-one blocks and continue to penetrate, that's where I think that we can make a difference in the running game.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it's the front seven, and mainly the front six. You're going to have Barr, Kendricks, and then those whoever you decide to put on the line, whether it's Sheldon Richardson, Michael Pierce. That's going to be the key. Like, hitting those gaps, making sure that if he bounces it, you want it to be a horizontal run game for Dallas. You do not want them to come downhill at you, and now your linebackers are making tackles 7 yards, 6 yards down the field, or even now Harrison Smith has to come up and support. You want to make him bounce because you look at Cameron Dantzler, you look at Mackenzie Alexander, they're all been pretty good tacklers on the outside. Yeah. Yes, Patrick Peterson is out, and so when you go to the pass, now Mike Zimmer's going to kind of have to go back to what he did last year, which is a little bit more zone and not leaving guys on islands.
Well, the Purple are a team with something to prove, sitting at 500 here, 6 games through the regular season. But also some individual performers feel the same way heading into this game against the Cowboys. And for more on that, we toss it over to Dawn Mitchell, who caught up with some of the guys before this game against the Cowboys. Hey, Dawn.
No one has to get up for this game, right? It's Sunday Night Football. It's against Dallas. They're 5-1. But there's perhaps one player that has a little bit more emotional skin in the game, and that's safety Xavier Woods. He used to play for Dallas, and when asked if he had some added incentive going into Sunday's contest, he kept it real.
Most definitely.
The honesty is refreshing. Xavier Woods with added incentive against Dallas this Sunday. He grew up as a player in his 4 years there, but they didn't want him back.
I just didn't play good. Point blank period. I just didn't play well on any facet of my game. From first 2 games started off well, but then after that, I didn't play well at all. So, yeah, that's the cutthroat answer.
He's really smart, he's intelligent, and he fits the mold of what we do. Maybe he didn't fit the mold of how they were playing defense last year or whatever, but he's done everything we ask him to. He's a great leader, he's smart, and a great communicator for us, and he's played well.
The defense prepping to face one of the best quarterbacks this season in Dak Prescott. Prescott suffered a right calf strain almost 2 weeks ago. He has been practicing and looking solid, but Mike McCarthy said yesterday Dak's, quote, got to cross a threshold to make sure he's a full go. The Vikings are prepping for that threshold to be crossed.
He's a great quarterback, man. He's grown a lot. He's been here 5 years. I've been here 4, but basically see him every day in practice, and from the first day I was there to now, he's grown so much, and he's become one of the better quarterbacks in this league.
He sees a lot of things because he's a veteran. He can recognize coverages and change protections. He does a lot at the line of scrimmage, and based on our looks, so we have to do a good job with our disguises and making sure we're in the right position when the ball is snapped.
If Prescott gets hot, this game could very well turn into a shootout. The defense needs to be on, but also the offense with counterfire.
Yeah, we're definitely aware of that. You're aware of maximizing your possessions, maximizing your red zone opportunities at all times, but it's a more heightened focus on that this week, yes.
Yeah, it goes without saying, right? You always want points. But if this does turn into a shootout, the winner could be upwards of 40 points or more. They don't want Dak to get that amount of points either. But the offense says, hey, if the defense can't limit them, we're going to be ready to shoot this thing out. So we'll see if U.S. Bank Stadium turns into the OK Corral or if it can be contained. Back to you.
Yeah, with the way both of these offenses are playing, Dawn, it could get really scary on Halloween night. But you look at this Dallas team, they lost the opener to the Bucs. Kind of a questionable ending to that game, I think you could say, and they've rattled off 5 straight wins. Ben, what is the most impressive part about the Cowboys in the last 5 games, in your opinion?
You know, I think offensively, I think their ability to to throw on first down. I know everybody thinks that they are a run-first offense, and we talked about the stats, how when it comes to attempts, they're second in the league. But their ability to play action pass, get outside the pocket, and manipulate first down, to me, is really what opens up the running game. And so you have to be conscious as a front 7 defender about, is this going to be a run? Is this going to be a pass? And what do I have to do when it turns into a pass play?
I'd say the trick-or-treat factor of Trayvon Diggs. You know, he's going to get tricked every once in a while where he's going to jump a ton of stuff because he wants it. But then the treat of deep ball one-on-one, he's a former receiver. So a lot of DBs panic on deep balls. He's under control. He understands the receiver's going to take me to the ball, and he goes right to it, and he out-jumps him. So I think that's what's been impressive for me to see. I mean, he's going to have more catches than some teams' 4th receivers. So that's what's crazy.
Well, he has 2 pick sixes on the season. We'll get into that a little bit later. But looking at this receiving core, Ron, CeeDee Lamb in his 2nd year really grown, but Amari Cooper as well, a veteran wide receiver, showing some savvy, as we're going to see against the Patriots.
Yeah, and if you roll the film here, you'll see it. The first route is just a post corner, but it's a hard post and then kind of an out because the DB's over the top. So he's just reading that the DB's over the top, so he knows I have to break it off flat, and you're just going to see a good footwork here. I mean, look at the feet there. He forces the DB to have to flip his hips, and if you have to flip your hips, you're dead. You lose track. And then the next play is the same setup. It's a corner thinking maybe it's post corner, and he's just late. And now it's a race to the goal line. And Dak Prescott on the roll has been really accurate. We saw the hips and pregame warm-up stuff he does. And that's just an accurate throw, allowing the receiver to be able to run and make a play. And that's what you're seeing there.
Also, you take a look at what Trayvon Diggs has been doing this season, and his stats are just off the charts this season with the way he is playing football. His 2nd year, 7 interceptions in 6 games. That's first in the NFL. 2 pick sixes and 11 pass deflections. But, Ben, their defense, you alluded to it earlier, there are some holes, especially in the run game, that the Vikings can exploit coming up on Sunday night.
Yeah, one little caveat. I would not be scared of Trayvon Diggs. I know that people want to talk about his stats. I say you can attack that dude, especially on 3rd and medium. You attack him, he's going to jump routes because he knows that a lot of people are going to have routes at the sticks, and that's where he's been getting a lot of his interceptions. Attack that dude. Now we're talking about Micah Parsons right here in the middle of the field. Now he bites on this motion. Now that's just a young football player's bad move. That's a mental bust. There's a motion on post snap. He decides to go over the top with motion, doesn't recognize this is a run, and he's still in pass coverage mode. So you can exploit that guy with some motion and some window dressing as well. Then you look at both of these linebackers right here. Both these linebackers are going to be hard down on the play action pass. Now look at Leighton Vander Esch. Leighton Vander Esch is right on top. Now he's got to get some depth. You're going to see this little nod route by the tight end. He's got to be underneath that. So you got 2 linebackers there. Leighton Vander Esch, he's stiff as a board in coverage. And then you got Micah Parsons, who's a young guy that you can manipulate as well.
Well, the Vikings defense, they're playing pretty well as of late, especially at getting to the quarterback. Paul Allen's excited about it, and a big reason why is because of the guy who's joining us tonight live here on Vikings Live, and that's Everson Griffen. He's been able to get after the quarterback. His nickname's Sack Daddy, of course. He's been able to get after some QB.
Vikings Live. Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
Well, scary things can happen on Halloween, and U.S. Bank Stadium might be the site of a frightening sight for the Cowboys offense. That's because of the way the Vikings defense is playing, anchored by Everson Griffen, a guy who's been a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, but it's been a dream season to start for he and the Vikings defense, leading the NFL in sacks. And for more with Sack Daddy, we toss it on over to Paul Allen, standing by with the one and only Everson Griffen tonight.
Sack Daddy, thank you very much, Obi. 4 sacks this season, 84.5 in his career, 3 touchdowns. It's quite the career, young man. You've had a wonderful career. How's the spin move these days?
The spin moves stay nasty. That's a part of my repertoire. I master that. So, I'm going to bring that out a little bit, but I just don't know when yet.
And you're still very excitable, which is great, because Everson came into the NFL with Ben Lieber in 2010. They played together, and I think it was 2011 in Mankato with the spin move. You finally got it down.
Yes.
I'll never forget how excited you were when you finally got that thing down, man, and it's really good. It's a lethal move, isn't it?
Yeah, it is lethal. It takes time to master your craft. It takes time to learn pass rush moves, but, I'm a very simple guy on the field. I use 3 moves. I have counter moves, but the spin move is one of my moves that I perfected, and, I can hit it at any time, any given time, and, it's fun.
So you're not stiff as a board like Leighton Vander Esch?
He's a good player. We got to come.
Very good. Very.
We got to come play on Sunday.
Very Hunter Hillenmeyer.
Yeah, we got to come play on Sunday. Absolutely.
Yeah. With you at this stage of your career and your age, how's the body feel when you execute the spin move? Do the joints and the bones start to ache or anything? Or are we not at that stage yet?
I feel like I'm 26 years old. Honestly, I feel really good. I take care of my body. That's the number one thing. I get my massages, acupuncture, cold tub, hot tub, my movement coach. So everything I do is based off my movement. As long as I can move, stay flexible, stay bendy, I still can play this game for a long time.
What's a movement coach?
My movement coach, we really focus on finding the ground, KPIs, key performance indicators. So from the feet to my knee, my shin angle to my hips. So everything got to be aligned. So it's like a computer. I get down and I'm locked and loaded.
What was it like playing for those Cowboys last year?
Cowboys, it was all right, but playing
Which means you hated it.
Yeah,
you don't want to say it.
Yeah, Detroit.
Because of the Cousins thing, I get it.
Detroit was absolute terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Lions, when you came back to U.S. Bank Stadium and you played the Vikings,
yes.
How weird was that? I mean, first of all, no fans.
Yes.
But then, you met Zim after the game and you hugged. I mean, how weird was that?
It was weird, man. This is my home. This is where I belong. This is where I love to be. And at the end of the day, I just want to win games. And Sunday night, we got a big game coming up. And, I'm excited. I'm excited to face these boys.
How do you fluster Dak? How do you guys fluster Dak?
As a whole, rush and coverage and rush. We have to be great on the run. They have 2 great running backs, Zeke and TP.
Yep.
So we have to stop the run on first down. But like they said, they do throw the ball on first down too also. So we got to be good in our transitions, play action pass. But also we have to be able to, affect them, get around his feet, hit him. And and get them flustered, But that's going to take 4 quarters, 60 minutes to be able to get that done.
Yeah, you know better than anybody, man, because you played at Metrodome and you've played at U.S. Bank Stadium and you've played with Dak Prescott, Zeke, and everything. The crowd on Sunday night, man, the louder that crowd is, because Dak calls the game at the line and makes so many changes. Yes. The crowd could be the MVP, man.
Yeah, we need the Skull Nation. We need the U.S. Bank Stadium to be rocking. We need the loudest it's ever been, and we just gonna go in there and I'm gonna go in there and execute my assignment. I feel like the way we had Wednesday to Thursday practice, we had 2 great practices, and everybody looks crisp, focused, and on point, and I feel like we got a good thing going.
Lastly, about 30 seconds, 12 years in it, how blessed have you been to have the career you've had?
Oh, blessed, man, extremely blessed. I'm thankful for each and every day I get to step on that field. I don't take anything for granted. It's a blessing, and when we go out there Sunday, I'm going to leave it all out on the line,
Yeah.
I want a Super Bowl. That's what it really comes down to each and every day. But, it's one game at a time, one step at a time, and I think we got the chance to get there.
Great chat, man. Good season so far. Best of luck, all right?
Man. Yes, sir.
Love you, too. Everson Griffen, OBR Teague.
PA, thank you very much. It's going to be a great one on Sunday night, but it could be great for the Vikings tonight if the Cardinals could pull off a win against the Packers. We preview Thursday Night Football and more coming up next here on Vikings Live.
Is Vikings Live. Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
Time to wrap things up here on Vikings Live, but before we do, let's toss it over to Paul Allen with his Bird's Eye View. And PA, back to football business after the bye week. How do they get it done against these boys?
Short and sweet, my friend. The Bird's Eye View got me so fired up because of Everson Griffen. I'm ready to call the game with the team that has the stars on the helmets, but the purple team has the stars on the field. So Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, they're going to steal the show. 97 got me so fired up, I'm predicting his 4th career touchdown coming Sunday night. That's your Bird's Eye View. By midnight Halloween, your Vikings will be 4-3. Hobie?
Ooh, I like that. It's almost like the guarantee right there, PA. I like it. We know these offenses are going to put up points, but the defense, we're going to see on Sunday night. Guys, your keys to victory for the Vikings. What's one thing, a lot of things that are going to go into this game, but what's one key that they need to hone in on for this game?
Well, I mean, ended up in 3rd and short, and then Ben brought it up. On 3rd and short, don't be afraid to run a double move because Trayvon Diggs knows what you're trying to get to. Every receiver knows that. You're supposed to run to the sticks. And so test that. Use that against him, his aggressiveness, because he wants a pick, especially in Minnesota, because I know his brother Stefan is texting him, like, you got to show out when you get there.
Oh, for sure. That's for sure. Yes. Oh, yeah. This is marked on the calendar as if Stefan's coming back. I'm going to go with, I've kind of been talking about all show, is the backs out of the backfield. I think having our running backs get involved in the passing game, that is going to be my key to this game offensively for the Vikings. They're going to see a lot of man coverage. They do mix it up a little bit like everybody else does, but you're going to see a lot of man coverage, and I think we can exploit these linebackers in secondary with our running backs.
Well, as for the game tonight, it's Thursday Night Football, and the Packers are going to the desert to take on the Cardinals. Both teams, though, down quite a few players, especially Green Bay, down to believe their top 3 wide receivers going into this game. Don't know who Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to, but he's got to find somebody if they want to keep their streak going, especially after that loss in Week 1 against the Saints. Who do you guys have tonight, and who do you think has the advantage in this one?
Even though J.J. Watt's out, I'm still going to go Cardinals. I just think with Amari Rodgers and Randall Cobb being his top 2 receivers, it's just going to be tough.
Yeah, I think there's too much firepower there for Arizona. I think that they're going to jump on this Packer defense early, and then they're going to really stress out Aaron Rodgers. You look at Rodgers, he's 18th in the league when it comes to depth of target. They don't have a hugely explosive passing game. So they're going to fall behind. They're going to press. They're going to get stressed out. They're going to have some turnovers. Arizona's going to win.
I will bring up one name, though, Robert Tonyan. Yeah. He's come up big before in games when they've been down wide receivers and shown out, especially in primetime games, I believe, is where he really burst onto the scene. I think the Cardinals take it, though. My opinion.
I think the Cardinals safeties are thinking the same thing. Robert Tonyan, because we don't have to worry about Devontae Adams running behind us.
Are we all going Cardinals?
Yeah,
we're all going Cardinals?
Yeah.
All right, well, it's a game that you can catch right here on Fox 9 coming up after this. For Ron Johnson, Ben Lieber, Paul Allen, I'm Hobie RT. We'll see you next time.